Welcome to Creative Bath, the podcast for anyone interested in being more creative. You might hear my cat. I just gave her some treats. It's kind of our ritual. She comes in while I'm working. I give her treats. We're both happy about it. The vet says her weight is fine. So you may have noticed that I haven't been following as much of a schedule. And to be honest, it's been hard to keep things consistent when there's so much going on in the world. The US elections are on my mind. The LA fires were I think last week, and it just kind of feels like the ground keeps shifting beneath my feet. And maybe that's an excuse, but I also think that it's okay to give ourselves time to grieve and process and relax when there's just so much going on. Like, if you can do those things, I think that that's important. And that kind of ties into one piece that I'm going to speak on later. But I wanted to talk today about New Year's resolutions. I know that they can be kind of lame or be seen as kind of lame, but I have always been a New Year's resolutions person. New Year's is actually my favorite holiday because it's a time to just kind of Callie. She's meowing because she wants treats. It's a time. Okay, I have to start again. It's a time to reflect and think about your last year. Think about what you want to bring into your new year. And I just like that baked in intentionality. And my family also we do a traditional meal on New Year's Day. And it's kind of that first holiday after all of the holidays. But I read a quote recently, and I swear I cannot find the book that I found this from, but in it they talked about how, yes, a lot of people don't keep their New Year's resolutions, but in fact, when you look at other times of the year, people are more likely to keep the habits from their New Year's resolutions or like that particular time of year than any other part of the year. And the point here is that it's not that New Year's resolutions are a sham. It's that change is hard. Building habits is hard. We as humans get comfortable. We have things that there's just so many things that can come up and might take priority over some of your other goals. But the point is to try and see what happens. And also, I found that having strategies with your New Year's resolutions is really helpful. So it's not just about, okay, let's say I want to be more creative. What are the exact strategies that I can have? What are the exact breakdown throughout the day that I can do to achieve that goal? And the interesting thing is, by the end of the year, after setting New Year's resolutions, I have found that by maybe month 2, I've kind of forgotten what my New Year's resolutions were. I might be on autopilot. I might have actually realized one of those things wasn't as important, or I might be well on my way to achieving it. And so I just encourage anyone listening to try. So I'll go over my 3 New Year's resolutions this year that are related to creativity. I think I have a couple of others that you don't need to listen to. So the first is, like I was saying earlier, to be more creative. And my first strategy with that is actually letting myself rest and feeling my feelings when I need to. So these past couple of months are an example of that, where there's just a lot going on. And I think Beyonce's mom said that if something happens, you have 3 days, if something bad happens, you have 3 days to just completely be in your feelings, laying in bed, eating chocolates, whatever that looks like, let yourself feel those feelings. But after that 3rd day, you have to get up and do something about it, or you have to do things that make you happy or something. And I have been really realizing, I think over the past year or so, how important rest is in creativity. So I got while we're talking about New Year's resolutions, I went through a number of years where I was really determined to achieve some goals because I wanted to push my life forward in a way. And I did that, but I also experienced burnout last year because I've just been pushing myself so much and so hard for so long. And I did a big move. I had a number of life things happen that were out of my control. And I just kind of ended up burning myself out, really. There's no other way to put it, I guess. And I also have been realizing that some things have been creeping into my rest time. Like I'll be on my phone or I will be, it's mostly just being on my phone. And rest looks like, okay, not working, not doing things that are stressing me out. But I feel like I'm opening my mind to things that are actually restful for me. So right now, because there's so much going on, whenever I pick up my phone, somehow the news ends up entering into my brain. I'm not sure why or how, but it's something that I really just need to limit screen time. That's just what it is. And I've found that even if I'm chilling and I'm like looking at my phone, it kind of stresses me out in like a dull, long-term way. And over the holidays, I took some time off and was just out in nature going on a hike, going on a few hikes actually. And that was healing, like not being near my devices. It was like, even though my body was active, it fit more into the category of rest because it didn't look like my day-to-day and my day-to-day stressors. So that is, I know I didn't talk that much about creativity, but I have other things that I don't think I'm like consciously thinking about with being more creative. And my biggest hurdle so far is just letting myself rest and then creating the time to be creative. So another part of this is to keep waking up early. I let myself just kind of chill and sleep in for a while, but at the end of the day, I just don't have as much bandwidth and energy to put into my creative endeavors. So that's what I'm going to do. So my next resolution is to have more fun. I have a tendency to hunker down and start a thing and then make it not fun because it's serious and I need to do it this often and blah, blah, blah. And I just want to have fun. I want to bake that into the creative things that I do because I want them to be something I want to turn towards over and over again. And I chatted with an artist recently. I was looking around at places where I could sell prints, and I ended up chatting with a woman who told me to not pigeonhole myself too early on. She said it's really common for artists or creatives to create something and then see what sells, see what people are interested in, and then once that thing has success, continue with that without really seeing what else they're capable of or seeing what else is an expression of something that they're feeling. And it was an interesting conversation. And I think something that I have to remind myself of, like she was saying, when you're an established artist later on in your career, you don't have as much control. You have an audience, you have fans, people expect a certain kind of art from you, and it's harder to break out of that. So she said, don't take this time for granted, which is really interesting. It kind of bled into my feelings about experimenting and trying things out and also breaking down walls that I have. I don't know if it's because I was a creative kid, but then I studied psychology and other kind of more like scientific things that in some ways it put like blinders on me with my creativity. And I feel like for the past few years, I've worked to break that down and to not judge myself too early on. It can be hard to let myself be creative, even though I know I'm a creative person. I'm also going to reference the book Deviate, which is, I will continue referencing that. I think I've already said that exact phrase. But fun is play, and creativity exists in a place of not knowing. So this is the space for play. If I don't know what I'm doing and I'm experimenting, there is something fun about that. Yeah, it's scary, but I don't know. That's the place where fun and play should exist. So my third and final resolution, at least for y'all, is to shoot my shot. I have struggled with confidence in the past, and in the agency world, or the design agency world, confidence is everything. People have to trust that you can execute, and people have to trust that you can collaborate with other people and be a leader. I've worked on my confidence a lot, and some of that is just talking and designing and continuing with what I'm doing so that some of those pieces are on autopilot. But I also think it's important to shoot my shot. So if there is a creative opportunity, like, go for it. I feel like I've oftentimes held myself back because I didn't necessarily have the confidence that I could do something. And at this point in my life, I've proven to myself that I can do a lot more than I give myself credit for. And it's okay to shoot your shot and to get rejected sometimes. And if that's what it takes to really go for what I want to do, I'd rather have that than just sit and kind of be upset that the needle hasn't been pushed forward. I think that's the saying. I have this thing where I always mess up sayings, and I hope that was right. And I hope that talking about resolutions was helpful for you all. If there's anything that you're thinking about for your New Year's, feel free to leave a comment. Please like and review, and I'll catch you next time.